Hi, this is Rabbi Chaim Kaufman. Welcome to our 294th installment in the Torah portion of the week. We are holding by Parshat Ekev. Parshat Ekev talks about the reward, the reward for doing mitzvahs. We talk about the insurance, the lessons of food, talking about a warning against the lure of prosperity, remembering the Exodus, quite a bit over here. And then at the end, then the Parsha, chapter 11, verse 16. I think that's where we are. 1 second, verse 16, right? Beware of yourselves, lest your heart be seduced. You turn astray. You serve the gods of others. Prostrate yourselves to them. So what happens? Torah says, if you go against the Torah, right? If you go against the Torah, what's going to happen? You're going to worship other gods, right? So it's an obvious question. What's going on? What's the connection there? What's the connection between not doing Torah mitzvahs and going into idolatry, serving idols? So it says, "My Rebbe, a Rav go to Moshe Mashlita should be well." Brings down in Tam V'das commentary on Chumash. First, it brings down Rashi. What's Rashi saying? Person separates from Torah, you will serve other gods. Why? Right? What is the connection? Right? What is the connection over here? So he says, connection is someone who turns away from Torah mitzvahs, since they separate from Torah, what do? Attach yourself to idolatry. Attach yourself to idolatry. Right? So there's a connection. There's a connection when a person's weak in Torah and a person leaves Torah. That's where they go. Because if you're not learning Torah, then you're very close to serving idols. So he says, you got to see what Rashi says over here. He says that even a person wastes time a little bit from learning, right? Oh, you met out there obligated to learn when you're not working. So you got an obligation to learn when you're not learning. And you're wasting time when you could have been learning. Even doing something not good. You're not just wasting time, right? You're doing something not good. In the end, what's it going to lead to? Heresy. It's going to lead to heresy. Yeah, so he says further, person who leaves the base medrash, person who leaves the study hall, he's in trouble. He's going to go after the street. Torah gets left behind. And he goes after his base design. In the end, what's going to be of them? What's going to be of them is that they're going to go down a bad way, right? They're going to go down a spiral path. And the spiral path will take them away from Torah and mitzvahs, will lead them to what? To idolatry. And into heresy. Now, people say, this is an extreme way of looking at things. Just because the person's not learning Torah, per se. Or even if, God forbid, they're wasting their time when they could have learned Torah. Who says it's going to be heretic? Who says it's going to be Ovdei Avodah Zarah? They're going to idol worship. Who says it's going to be that bad? A person wants a break. Person needs a break. Okay. Right? Makes sense. Well, you think a person's a machine? They go earn 20 hours a day. Some people can. Some people can function. Very little sleep. But why this extreme? Why should it be this extreme? The fact that, okay, you want to take a break. He's not talking about taking a break. You're not talking about rejuvenating over here. He's talking about you're leaving the path. When you leave the path of Torah, you don't have the anchor. You don't have the fear of heaven. You don't have the desire to please the Creator. So it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time before a person blasphemes in God's name. Person becomes a heretic. Person's no bit of Orthodox. Person's going to do idolatry. But again, some people make the mistake and they think, what? We're always attached to Torah. Little by little, when a person goes away from Torah, they don't think like the Torah wants them to. They don't act the way the Torah wants them to. They act like the street. They act like other people. Right? Society around you has a lot of effects. A lot of negative effects. Till the point where a person gives up everything, they become a heretic, they go after idolatry. Person thinks they're going to stay somewhere in the middle. Okay, maybe I won't be so religious, but at least I want to keep something. I want something for my kids. I don't want them to be fanatical, but at least something. But Meravi is telling you a fundamental principle. And that is, we live in a world which is a very slippery slope. We don't want to let in things that are going to cause the person eventually go astray. Because it doesn't take that much. Give an inch to the evil inclination, it'll take a mile. You don't allow him in to the best of your ability. Someone's going to say, but I live in this world. I got to keep up with what's going on in the world. Like someone said, if you don't go to college, you'll be ignorant. You'll be a fool. You'll be backwards. I'm going to put food on the table. I didn't know going to college was that, was the criteria over here. There are plenty of people who make, a nice, decent living without going to college. But this person's saying you're backwards if you don't. You're ignorant if you don't. So what's our focus here? What's our focus in the world? The focus in the world is I have to attach myself to the best of my ability to Torah and mitzvot, whether it's a Jew or a non-Jew. That is what I'm doing here in the world. And if I'm not doing that, I'm going against God. I'm rebelling against God. And if a person rebels against God, even if they don't know what they're doing, even if they're a potato farmer in Idaho, no offense, anyone's a potato farmer, grew up in Idaho, right? Means they don't know anything about anything when it comes to Torah and mitzvahs. They say, what's going to be with them? They don't know. They don't know how to tap in. They have to know how to tap in. You have to know what you're capable of doing. But you have to stay on the straight and narrow path, because if you don't stay on the straight and narrow path at all times, you'll fall. You fall in a very severe way. And you may never recover. Or people will say they've seen certain things, done certain things, they can't be the same anymore. Changed who they are. Totally changed who they are. For the worse. So that's why the Rambam says at the beginning of 13 Principles of Faith, either you're going to keep according to one God, and God is absolute, and God is everything, and God doesn't change. Immorality is not relative. So based on that, says the Rambam, either you believe God is absolute, and God does everything for us, or you believe in idolatry. So again, same question. Why this fanaticism? Why this black and white? Whenever I'm doing things, okay, so you be a little bit more mediocre. A little bit more in the middle. What do you need this fanaticism for? And what's the answer? Right? As the Rambam says, Merav here echoes the same thing. You go in that path, you have the evil inclination is, it will lead you to idolatry. There is no in between. It 100% will lead you to idolatry. What else is it? Because eventually, the further you go away from Torah, the evil inclination now drives it in. So the further you go away from Torah, it can only be little steps. It doesn't have to be anything major. Eventually, it's going to lead to idolatry. It's going to lead to heresy. Why is the person coming back? This ain't a person will keep a little bit of this, a little bit of that, maybe some other things. Is that going to keep them strong? No, the person will pick and choose. Give all kinds of mixed messages to their kids. How are the kids going to come out? Messed up spiritually. You don't have it both ways. Can't be a mediocre Jew just doing whatever, and thinking that, I'm going to give this over to my kids. I have this very strong feeling I'm going to give to my kids. Yeah. You can have a very strong feeling for Judaism. You're not able to pass it down. It's like saying, you like chocolate. You like chocolate ice cream. Your kid likes vanilla. Doesn't like chocolate. Now, how are you going to convince your kid to like chocolate? Different strokes for different folks. He likes this, you like that. Okay. You got a very strong feeling based on my heart. Yeah, so what? You're going to pass that down to your kids? Kids won't be interested. Most likely. Or even if they are, to be more watered down. But essentially, if you're going off and you're wasting time when you could have learned, right? You take one step out, it's like taking 4 or 5 steps out. Because you're turning your back. You're turning the back on your God and on your religion. And on your life. That's what you're doing. That's essentially what you're doing. So therefore, if you're not drawing close to God, by definition, what am I doing? Going far away. Going further away. To the extent where you'll be heretic. You'll be guilty of idolatry. Because when you fall, even a little bit, you're going to fall further. And it's going to spiral out of control. That's what's going to happen. Right? You're not saying you're going to be a, what do you call it, a heretic straight away. Not saying you're going to do idolatry straight away. He's telling you wasted time a little bit from your learning. A little bit of time. No, what's the big deal? A few minutes. Need to chill. Need that time. He's saying when you waste time over here, you're not wasting 2 minutes. You're wasting like 200 hours. Because those 2 minutes will be 4 minutes, 6 minutes, 8 minutes. And eventually get longer. Eventually get more into things. And eventually spiral out of control. Doesn't happen overnight, but it can be very quick. The fall can be very quick. That's what a person has to be careful for. So he's saying from Rashi over here, you go away from the Torah. You will transgress idolatry. That's what the Torah says. That's exactly what the Torah says over here. Which again, you can ask the question, so what? A little bit. You waste a little bit of time. We all waste time a little bit. Hopefully only a little bit. But that little bit is going to make your resolve to learn weaker. Once it makes your resolve weaker, evil inclination just, plays you like silly putty. Have a field day over here. Because the weaker you are, the further away from Torah you're going to get. And even if you have a desire in the back of your mind, I want to keep Torah, I want to work harder, this and that's going to be much, much harder. Because it's like a person now took 10, 20, 30 steps backwards. And in order to get to 0, you got to take those steps forward. So when a person's resolve is weaker, to get to where you want to get to is much harder. To the extent where even if you leave it a little bit, it's going to make you so weak. And eventually it's going to lead to idolatry. It's going to lead to heresy. Not overnight. He's not saying overnight. He's telling you over time. Evil inclination's got, a lot of patience. Right? So according to the evil inclination, okay, I'll get you eventually. But the more I entice you, the harder it is to fight. True. Anyone who's at any level of addiction for anything, food, drugs, anything, the more you give in, the harder it is to fight. Almost impossible. But the novelty over here is you're not taking a large step against God. That's all you're doing. Taking a baby step or two. That's all the inclination needs. Take a couple baby steps, a couple more baby steps, a few more baby steps. That's it. Right? The evil inclination says you're mine. It's only a matter of time. Only a matter of time. So therefore, it says our Torah needs, right? The Holy Torah, what does it need? It needs endless love. Continual love. To honor it, to study it, to be a part of it. But he says, if you're not, and you're weak, or you're lazy a little bit, it's going to carry over. But these people don't think. It's not going to affect me like that. It's not going to affect me in such a negative way. I know someone, his child went off, and, how did it happen? Started with the radio. It's where, it's where it started. Started listening to a pretty bad talk show. It spiraled out of control. Okay, started with something really bad. Fine. Right? But it doesn't have to be that way. It can start with something not bad. But it leads to something, and it leads to something else. Eventually become a heretic. Like when you look at it face value, you say, come on, a little bit of time not from learning. You want to chill, you want to relax. I get it. It's an intense lifestyle and this and that. It's all true. But if you're not in it constantly, all the inclination needs, you're out a little bit. Once you're out a little bit, it's only a matter of time before you're going to be out altogether. It's only a matter of time before you become a heretic of the Avodah Zarah, right? An idol worshiper, and you're just going to go totally off. That's what's going to happen. To come back, very hard. I won't say impossible, right? There are people that come back. Well, I will not say impossible, right? Be a little bit optimistic, right? But it's going to be very, very hard. Because now you've taken 100 steps backwards. When you take 100 steps backwards, depending on what you've done, now what you do becomes part of you. As we always say, once it becomes part of your psyche, it's very hard to fight. It's who I am today, okay? That might be true. You have to understand what triggers it. You have to understand how it's triggered. You have to understand what to do not to trigger it. And if it's triggered, what do? How do you fight against it? And some people say just, okay, it happened, I failed. Try again. Or I won't try again. People don't like difficulty. People don't like to make mistakes. People like to knock themselves down because they make mistakes. We're human. Can't use that as an excuse for effort. But you have to try. You have to make the effort. That's what El is about. Upcoming month of El is about introspection. It's about making a list, things I've done, things I want to fix or try and fix. It's intense. But if you make it real, you're taking a lot of steps forward. Even if you're taking baby steps. God wants to see at least you're trying. That's what he wants to see. He wants to see you have the Avos Hashem. That you love him, you trust him, you're going to continually learn his Torah. But if you don't, then you take steps backwards. Take many steps backwards. As we said, it's very hard to fight. In the end, you could be a heretic and an Oved Avodah Zarah. I want to remind everyone I have a class on duties of heart every Tuesday, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, 2 Q&As, Tuesday and Thursday, 10 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 o'clock Israel Time, Pirkei Avos, Ethics for Our Fathers every Saturday, 2:30 Eastern Time, 9:30 Israel Time. Sunday, Leviticus chapter 17, that's 9 o'clock Eastern Time, 4 o'clock Israel time. Noahide Nations, through the heart, starting from the beginning, starting from the introduction. That is on Sunday, 2:30 Eastern time, 9:30 Israel time. I also have conversion classes, and looking to start a one-on-one program and a group program. People interested, like a spiritual coach. People interested in, if they have difficulty dealing with family, friends, whatever, difficulty they have, livelihood, health, etc. So I'm willing to work with people one-on-one, in a group, how to see a Torah perspective, how to look at the bigger picture, through the Torah, through ethics, through Jewish philosophy, and, to help people deal with whatever they're going through. Anyone wants to contact me, RabbiChaimKoffman@gmail.com, RBBIChaimCoffman@gmail.com.